Today, I want to do something out of the ordinary and analyze a song from a genre that is not in my particular wheelhouse. This song is from the 90s grunge period, and it towers above all others from that era in terms of chordal sophistication, harmonic ambiguity, and tonal center plasticity. In other words, you can't tell where the key is. It kind of feels stretchy as far as I can't tell where the key center is. I'm talking about the song Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. Wait a second, all of you fans of my Beach Boys chord analysis videos, don't go away just yet. I promise you will be blown away by the chords of this song. There are some fascinating arrangement ideas in here that are worth checking out, so don't run away from the fun, my fellow chord lovers. Often I save it just for my Patreon subscribers, but for this video, you can look in a link in the description below and get the PDF chord chart of this song that I made here. I would suggest you pull it up and listen along once with the original song so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here before you do this lesson. Back in the day, I was never real big on Soundgarden. I was kind of indifferent. I didn't really like them, didn't really dislike them. I never bought one of their albums. This song always did kind of catch my ear, and the more I heard it over the years, I eventually heard, wow, there are some really strange chords going on in there. Eventually I said I have to do an analysis of this song one day, so here we are. A lot of the songs I analyze here on my channel have relatively clear key movements and modulations, and as you have seen, I like to analyze these and see if I can find a rhyme or reason to it. This song, Black Hole Sun, is really hard to pinpoint a key center, as the listener never really feels at home in the key that it's in. That fact only supports and bolsters up the obscure lyric content that seems to have some possibly dark occult references, even though I think Chris Cornell said in an interview, oh, I was just painting with words, it doesn't really have a specific meaning, but there are some phrases in there that are a little bit hard to ignore, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. Please take a moment to help me grow this online community. It's really tough to gain much traction these days, but by hitting subscribe below, ringing the notification bell so you know when I release new videos, hitting the like button, and leaving comments, you help me tremendously in my efforts to reach more people with this channel. If you feel so inclined, you can even leave me money tips below, which are called super thanks. Pay a visit to my YouTube homepage and hit the playlist tab to see the various categories that I offer, and you can easily navigate to the subjects that most interest you. From the various types of instruction in my music theory, production, and songwriting, all the way to my various original music projects, it is all clearly laid out on the playlist page. You can also sign up for my email list on the front page of my website, timsmolens.com, to stay informed about all the latest happenings. At first I thought maybe the songs just keep changing keys a lot in strange ways. I eventually decided that there wasn't really a way to rationalize a key movement, so maybe it was best if I thought of it all in one key, but right away you kind of look at this and you go, what the heck key am I in? I had to eventually just go with the simplicity of the melody. So it pretty much outlines an F minor. So I'm going to go with F minor. In general, I like to place things in major keys though, unless they're clearly in a minor key. In that case, I will actually analyze it in F minor, but otherwise I'm going to take it back to its relative major. You remember that every minor, so if this is an F minor just based on the melody alone, the relative major is A flat major. So I am going to proclaim, or at least it's my theory, that this entire song is in A flat major, but you never really feel settled there. You see the Roman numerals here, I wrote them right in the staff, and those are what function they're serving in the key of A flat major. So one of the reasons we don't feel settled in this key is they use sus chords, which, if you know what a major chord is, to suspend the third means you just raise it a half step, but it's that feeling at an end of a song when it wants to resolve. But sometimes it only really has that resolving motion if you do the resolution. If you just go straight to a sus chord, it can be really unsettling. And not in a dissonant kind of way, but just right away they go A flat sus 4, so, and then A flat minor add 11 over B, G flat 5, so no definition, F5, E flat 7, no 3. Oh, sorry, that's E. Another thing they do is hint at some pretty jazzy chords. They'll do something and the vocal melody will be like. So we have the sus chords in this song. We do have some strange type of jazz chords and inversions. I've never seen anything like this in pop rock, so I'm kind of along for the ride here too. Let's get into this. So this song is in A flat. It never really feels settled there. It's using lots of suspended chords and then inversion chords and sometimes some pretty jazzy sounding chords that it never really feels like it's in A flat. And some of these big jazzy chords that they're hinting at are very non-characteristic of grunge, which I don't even think it was cool to like know a major chord in grunge. Like, this is not cool that they're hitting 9s and 13s, and they better not let anyone in Nirvana know, because that would have really lost them some grunge street cred or whatever. It also uses the non-root chords where you don't put the bass in the bass note in the inversion. Like if it's an A flat minor, you might do a different note than A flat, like B or E flat or something else. Certain notes of the Chris Cornell's melody are not in the chord at all, and that makes for some real nice tension. It's a nice little arrangement too. It's got a few odd time signature changes, nothing too hard to do, but it adds a nice variation. And there are additional bars at the end of certain sections, which adds a nice little... it's always nice when you don't always have 4s and 8s, that you sometimes add an extra bar going into a section or take away a bar. As an arranger, that's always something you want to be looking for, that going from section to section, do we need to cut or add a bar? Now, I've talked about this before, but when I'm figuring out chords, I'm listening to what the chord people might be playing, but you're also hearing the singer, and if a singer hits a note that's not in a chord, let's say I'm hitting an F minor, and the vocal note is... So I go to G, which is 9. Now the question is, do I want the guitar player and the pianist hitting that G for me? Then it's like such an expected note. If I just let them hit just F minor... it gives that voice more room. So every time you analyze something, you have to take into account the vocal notes. There's a line in here that's like, and the chord is literally just hitting an F sharp 5 chord or a G flat 5. So I try to be respectful when I'm interpreting the chords. I'm usually not bringing the vocal notes into the chord because I feel that the vocal notes in this song really wanted to be kind of on their own in an isolated way. But there's a couple chords I think I pulled it in, and I'll explain it when I get there. Most of the chords I derive from the little arpeggiating guitar part. And that's really the bulk of it, is the bass line and those arpeggiations. And then sometimes I'd listen to maybe the rhythm guitars and sometimes the voice. But it is very clear that the vocal melody is using strange notes or extensions, and it adds a nice, mysterious color. If you enjoy the content I put out on this channel and want to take this type of learning to the next level, while at the same time providing some financial support to my efforts, then please consider joining my Patreon called High Castle Conservatory, where we do even more advanced chord analysis, exclusive online classes, songwriting, arranging, and music production lessons, harmonic science content, exclusive interviews, exotic music appreciation recommendations, and more. Explore the various tiers on my Patreon Conservatory today. Okay, now I'm going to analyze the chords and song arrangement form. So it starts out with an intro. I told you we're in A flat, and we're going to stay in A flat through the entire song. It's 2 pages. You can download this PDF in the description below. Please consider joining my Patreon at High Castle Conservatory. Anyway, I've got the section numbers here, and the Roman numerals, instead of above like I do in some of my charts, they're just right in the staff. So very easy to tell. This means it's a 1 of that key. This means it's a 1 minor of the key that we're in, a flat 7 major chord or some sort of chord like that. But anyway, let's dive right in here. The intro has no vocals, and there's an A flat sus. I think this is like an arpeggiation or something, something like that. Then A flat minor, add 11 over B. They weren't thinking that. All they did was take this arpeggiation and change the bass note to B. Now you could call that a B6-9, but I don't hear that in there. So I really thought they were going for the A flat minor. But just so you know, an A flat minor over B sounds very similar to B6. but in the context where you don't have that one extra note, it sounds kind of cool. So I kept it that way. A flat, sus4, which is the 1 of A flat, but it's just suspended. But right away, you've got no clue where you are harmonically. Now, A flat minor, add 11 over B. So now it goes to the 1, which is A flat, but makes it minor, but changes the bass notes. You don't really tell. Now we go to flat 6. It's kind of just hitting a power chord. I think I hear a 6 in there too, possibly, so I don't know. Now an E sus4 also, so you see how unsettled we are? So many times in chords they're hitting major chords. You just never know where the feel is going. So you get that E sus4, and then finally an E flat 7, a dominant 7, but there's no 3 in the voicing. It sounds dominant, right? But there's no G in there. So technically it's an undefined chord, but we all kind of know it's E flat 7, which is actually 5 of A flat. So this whole thing just found a way to fall to the 5 of A flat before it starts the verse. So one more time, and I don't have all my arpeggiations exactly right in here, but the chords are correct. A flat 7 sus4 is 1. Now we go to 1 minor, but over B. G flat 5. Oops. F5. I think that's a minor in the song too, but it's only hinted at. Now E sus4. E flat 7. No 3. Pretty cool little intro. It's nice and ambient. There's a pause right there. I just put an extra bar instead of a fermata. So, right away, this E flat falls to A flat. But look what it does. Instead of going to A flat major or even A flat sus like it started with, we go to a chord that I say almost doesn't exist sometimes, which is F minor over A flat. So F minor is 6 of A flat. And I've told you before, how similar is this to an F or an A flat 6 chord? So A flat 6 technically has these 4 notes. But once in a while you get a voicing that's just the minor triad, and you need a way to express that. So the way to express that is F minor over A flat. See, it sounds different if I had this. So it doesn't sound very different than an A flat 6 chord, and if you wrote that, it wouldn't be the end of the world. It would sound pretty similar. You can see it takes the same form as the intro, A flat to B, but it's the A flat sus4, and here it's the same bass note, A flat, but it's an F minor triad. Then we get A flat minor over B again, that G flat 5, the F, which in this case starts to hint at minor, and then pretty similar, but a little different turnaround. Anyway, let's get into this verse here. In my eyes, in the spurs, in the skies, there's no one knows. It could be a minor, but the only reason we know that is the voice goes, the flame, it hits the minor right there. So you know that's a minor chord, so in my eyes, in the stars, in the skies, there's no one. F minor, knows. Flat 6 major. Do, do, do. 5 sus, then 1, flat 2. Super cool chord progression. One more time. Takes the first ending there and just goes back. For those of you who have a bias towards my lessons that cover the Beach Boys, doo-wop, and the 60s wall of sound type of things, then I have an original project called ISS that I would love for you to check out. As an introduction, try watching the video called She's a Girl on YouTube. This song pays homage to the Beach Boys' Smile album and the wall of sound in general. If you like it, then please consider buying the entire ISS She's a Girl album on Bandcamp or on timsmolens.com, where you can also find other ISS albums. For those of you more adventurous listeners and those who want to see what happens when I put all my skills and knowledge base into practice, check out my current project, High Castle Teleorkestra, which is a sci-fi, progressive, genre-defying group with otherworldly instrument combinations and is made up of a distinguished cast of international virtuosos. And take the plunge into our debut record, The Egg That Never Opened. You can pick it up on Bandcamp or on highcastleteleorkestra.com. To get a taste of this truly unique group, watch our video on YouTube called At Last He Will. So that right there, when I did that star, you can hear the all these colorful notes. If I were to do all those notes in the chord itself, it would sound pretty funny. Here. But they just do E major, flat 6, now finally to 5, but it's suspended. That's flat 2 right there. And then we're going into the chorus. There may be an extra bar right there. I think I forgot to put it. Whoops. So we have the chorus that's E sus4 to the 5 dominant with no 3. That's probably one where I was letting some of the vocal colors add to my chord there. I doubt the guitarist, what's his name, Kim in Soundgarden, hit a B6-9 chord, but the effect really kind of has that there. I doubt it really hit that B6-9 chord, but listen once again. Flat 6, but it's suspended. Now 5, but with no 3. 1, turn it dominant in the bass. Then you get B6-9. Black hole, sun, warm, wash my car. Again, E sus. Won't you come? Won't you? D flat. Won't you come? That's hilarious, because if you know pop music, how much pop music is 1, 4, 5, 1? So this song is the farthest thing in the world from some kind of 1, 4, 5, but somehow at the end of the chorus here, 4, 5, but it catches you so off guard, it doesn't even make sense. Verse 2 is no different except the lyrics. I don't know the lyrics to the song very well, but anyway, just to go through it quickly, we have that F minor over A flat. Functions kind of as an A flat 6, but I'm calling it what it is because there's no E flat in the chord they play. 6, 1 minor, now flat 7, 6, flat 6 major is an important chord in any songwriting, so memorize that. 5 suspended. 1, make it down. Flat 2. Repeat. Harness men on time. So it just goes back to the chorus again and the new vocal note there. Nothing to do with this chord that's holding, but it anticipates the new section. I love it. Flat 6 to 5. Wash away the rain, black hole, sun. Now it's a little D flat, B. Page turn. Now that groove, but check this out, it's in pairs of 3. So I made it in 6 bars because it repeats every 3. It goes back to D flat. You see that? So that's an interesting arrangement. We've been pretty much in 4 up until now. So here, there was an extra 2 bars in that last section. And you see how I write that? I just make 2 long bars because I like my new sections to start at the beginning of a staff. So anyway, we have right at the end of the chorus, page turn. Now this thing I call post-chorus 2. Now D flat, it repeats after 3, right? That's why I wrote it in 6. won't you go? And there's a little riff that they solo over, and this is interesting because it just goes into 3 for a second. The riff goes something like... And you count that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's 3 bars of 3 that repeats 8 times, and he just takes a guitar solo over that. I'm not really going to analyze that as being some kind of chord. It does a tritone, that could be a diminished, but they're just keeping it rock ambiguous. I don't think that needs any analysis at all. That's just 3 bars of 3 that repeats 8 times, and he solos over it, and finally it does this little hold for 2 bars that goes, and it just ambiguously is sitting on the A flat, which is the 1. And then the third verse is, most of you songwriters probably know, but the third verse is the verse you can bring it down or take out the drums, and yes, it's overdone, but it's actually very effective after a solo or after some high energy part of the song that you break it down to something here, and you see that what they do is a partial verse, which is very cool. It doesn't do the full form of the verse, it just does one line, and I think it even kind of slows down toward the end or adds an extra bar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I wrote that it adds an extra bar. So he goes, hey, till your heart just disappear. And then that vocal melody again. So nothing else new or interesting. You can listen along with the original and the arrangement. It does that vamp thing again, that post-chorus, the 3 bars. And here I wrote it as a repeat, which maybe I should have done earlier too. But just 3 bars that repeats 8 times. And the end, they end on that riff again, just one time. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Anyway, I thought this song was absolutely fascinating. It's totally foreign to me. I think you can hear me stumbling through some of it because it's a little outside of my usual comfort zone for chord stuff. And I think they did a fantastic job on this. I'm surprised it took me so long to realize that this thing was next level because, back then I was learning to play, more complicated music. And I liked some grunge stuff at the time, but, another part of me didn't like the part of them that didn't know any chords. But anyway, they stuck it to me here. They got me. Thanks a lot for watching this video and taking an interest in my channel. Please help me reach a larger audience by hitting subscribe below and ringing the notification bell. Check out my video playlist page to find the categories that most interest you. Leave me a super thanks here on YouTube, and even better, come join my Patreon. Please consider buying music for my original projects ISS and High Castle Teleorkestra. Also, don't forget to sign up for my email list on the front page of timsmolens.com. You can find information about all of those things in the description below. Thanks again.